All right, so Jeff, we've all heard the horror stories about divorces that involve business and whether they are in ownership together or whether they're not. We know that there are traditional strategies that are used that are really messy, long, they're drawn out. By the end of it, neither spouse is happy, right? So tell me about what that usually looks like.
And that's so true. What we see for so many of these, it's common. You come up with a value for the business. We argue that out. I think it's worth millions. You think it's worth nothing.
Absolutely, because there are so many times when, I'm going to think that my business is worth nothing when it comes to a divorce, and you're going to think that it's worth $1 million.
You've been hiding money. You're defrauding everybody, all these things. So
heard it all.
It's emotional with that. But we finally come to a number, and we agree we're going to go ahead and split this up. But usually there's not enough. Your business doesn't have that much money laying around.
Right. So most of it's in working is in the business.
Or it's in there, or it's in the other. Maybe it's in part of the equity in the house. Maybe it's in part of half your 401k. Most people end up giving up, if they want to retain the business and they're the business owner who's going to continue running it, they give up all of the other assets. Now they're financially stressed. They're at the edge. They're going to stress the business for as much as they can pull out of there, and it's still not enough. So we almost always end up with a loan. Attorneys draw up a loan and say, okay, great, here's your monthly payment. Make this monthly payment, and it's going to balloon in 2 or 3 years. What happens in 2 or 3 years when you can't go refinance it? The bank won't lend you money on that. So how do you actually get this done? And it just makes extreme difficulty writing that monthly check.
It's painful. Right? I mean, nobody likes to do that. And I'm tied to you for the next few years, even though our divorce was finalized years ago.
And for that, too, I'm concerned. Are you running the business properly? Are you going to shut it down? Are you going to put me at risk? Are you going to make my payments? I feel like I have a voice in what you're saying for business. Absolutely.
And I'd be concerned that you'd be showing up at my business to double check to make sure that I'm doing the right thing.
I would. So,
absolutely. So there is a much better strategy in how to amicably get this done that I don't think that a lot of people realize is an available tool in the tool chest. But before we actually talk about that, whether you go the traditional common route that we usually see or you implement some of these strategies that we're going to talk about, the same is the write-off that I don't believe everybody knows about. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Correct, absolutely. I think the theory is most attorneys are trying to get you divorced. They don't usually look at the tax consequences. It's not their job. They don't look at any kind of financing piece. They're not the banker. So they're trying to help you get divorced in the best way possible. Being a CPA, we always look at the tax piece as well. So one of the structures we try to do is make sure there's an election you can make. If you're a partnership, or if you're not a partnership, we can make it become a partnership. We change you to be taxed as a partnership. And then by doing so, if I'm a partner and you buy me out, you actually purchase my shares, then you actually get a write-off. So
Hold on. You're saying that I can get a write-off for buying you out.
That's it. So it's great because now you're upset. You got to pay me alimony. You're not going to deduct that. Then you got to pay me child support. Not getting any deduction on that. But wait, if you can go ahead and buy me out and purchase me out just on the tax structure, you can actually write off the value of that business of what you have to buy from me. You're writing it off over 15 years. So you at least get some benefit for it. And that would be the same actually even if we weren't married and we were just partners in a business, and you go to buy me out as a partner, then you're going to want to be a partnership where you can. So at least you can write off the goodwill portion of it, which is the majority of most businesses.
Interesting. So there is a tax-advantaged strategy in how you can part ways with either a spouse or a business owner.
Yes. It's you have to be a partnership, so it's called a Internal Revenue Code 754 election, but it's very simple, but it's very worthwhile.
Interesting. Okay. So besides the tax advantage of the write-off, we talked about the messy side of how things are normally done, the long, the drawn out, the painful side of, the way that these usually work out. But there is a way that you can make things amicable in a win-win situation for both spouses, which I think is incredible. So tell us about how that works.
Well, I think the next piece we're seeing, so we've already agreed on the value of the business. We argued that out. Maybe we decided we would do a tax advantageous election, so you're getting some benefit for that. What's in it for me? Why do I care? So because I'm going to have to pay tax on that money, maybe gross it up a little bit to cover me. The advantage for me to get both parties of interest. The one who's going to continue owning the business, they get a tax write-off. Hey, do you want to write off your marriage, your divorce? Absolutely. You lost alimony. You can't do child support. So now you've got the business owner who's going to retain it. I have their attention. They're going to get a write-off. But for me, as the one who's not going to retain the business and you own the business, well, why do I care? You're not the person I'm probably really caring about helping right now. Well, let's go get an SBA loan. The SBA, it's an SBA 7A loan. Every national bank and local bank, community bank, all offer these. The SBA guarantees a loan for the bank, so the bank's more likely to make the loan. And these are perfect when you're buying out a partner. As I said, we already determined I'm going to partner, you're going to purchase me out. And that way, hey, Jeff, rather than making monthly payments to me and me wondering about and worrying about, as you said, are you running the business right? Are you going to do the right thing? Will you make my payments there? Hey, Jeff, so if I'm willing to help you get the tax deduction for it, what if you gave me a lump sum check? And I could go buy a house, buy a car, buy my own new business, start my new life, and get out of yours. Then, yeah, I'm down with that. I'd rather have the load of cash.
Absolutely. I think both sides would really benefit from, instead of me having to pay you for, what may feel like an eternity, right? And have all of the worries and the stress of, you showing up at my business or, worrying about whether I'm running it correctly. You're able to then take that lump sum of money and you're happy as a clam because you can go start your new life.
Right. Absolutely. Hopefully people at the end, if we take the money piece out of this, I let you run your business how you need to run it. You're making a payment to the bank, not to me. I'm not holding you back. You could do great, but I'm able to actually move on with my life too. Maybe actually I'm able to keep half the equity in the home. My 401k, you kept your 401k. We're both financially happier at a better point because we're able to finance this divorce and the value of the business using the SBA guaranteed money.
That's fantastic. So one of the things that people may be wondering, though, is what if both spouses aren't partners? What if it's not a 50-50 partnership? And this is usually what we see where one spouse is not involved in the business at all. They have no ownership, and you have the other spouse who owns 100%. So will this strategy actually work for them?
Right. Great point, because you're right. Maybe you own 100% of the business, but I have a 50% marital interest, meaning you owe me half when we get divorced, but I don't legally own anything. If I don't legally own anything, I have no shares. If you go to the bank to buy me out, what are you buying? You can't. I have to legally own something that you're going to buy from me. So the easiest answer, make me a partner. And some of you just said,
wait a minute.
What? Are you insane?
Wait a minute. I'm going to stop you right there. So you're telling me you want me to make a soon-to-be ex-spouse a partner in my business where they had no ownership rights. That's what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. What could go wrong?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So, all right. So as the rest of you are thinking this is crazy, but in doing so, I would have the attorney go ahead and bring me on as a partner today. Let's make it today. We determine the value. We're not done with the divorce. We still have to do child support, custody, argue things out maybe, but go ahead and put me on, but make it a limited partner. And, everything you could think of as the one who's going to keep the business, you can put in that limitation. Don't come on property. Don't be crazy. That's hard to say. But but I would want to know that you're not going to draw out too much money. The business is going to continue to operate. But there's also a guaranteed, at the same time, redemption or sales agreement. That after 6 months, at least after 6 months, I have to sell to you. I have to sell you my 50% shares for the number we already agreed to. So it's not a risk. It's a short time period. We're checking the box here. SBA will loan you money if you've been a partner, to buy out a partner, if the partner's been there 6 months and a day. So after 6 months and a day, maybe we settle the divorce right away. Well, in 6 months and a day, I'm going to get a check. I would rather wait 1 or 2 months to get a lump sum than to string it out and get monthly checks.
Right. You're talking about possibly a 6-month period versus a, multi-year period, which, everybody would be a lot happier, both sides, with that. So one of the other things that, we think about is there are times when you are in business with somebody else and you don't have control over their personal situation. And so is this something that could work for maybe a partner who is in a divorce situation? Because now I'm concerned about our business and the spouse coming after what's mine.
Right. No, very common as well. So even if you're the partner and we're not involved, you're not involved in the divorce, but one of your partners is actually getting divorced, encourage the same concept. Still have it so that partner buys out their spouse. The tax benefit's going to go to the partner who's getting divorced, not to the other one. It goes directly to them. I would have to guarantee the loan along with the partner who's being divorced. All partners have to guarantee it, but that's a whole lot better of getting it than we drain out the cash, drain out receivables, put stress on us. And actually, as your partner, if I'm not getting divorced and you're getting divorced, the sooner I can get you out of this just emotional time frame and refocus on the business, we'll make money.
Absolutely. Wow. So I'm sitting here thinking, that we may have some people listening that are thinking, wait a minute, what about me? I've already done, I'm going through this. I've already finalized my divorce. I'm making payments right now. What about me? Is it too late?
Oh, it's never too late. It's too late for your marriage, but it's never too late for you to come back and actually say, can I fix this? So like we said, you can refinance this. You've got a loan and you're in that situation where you're making monthly payments or receiving monthly payments on either side. Go back to the attorney, say, can you take the balance of the note that hasn't been paid, and can we convert that into shares? Maybe it's 30%, 45%, something of the company, still restricted. I still can't do anything bad. And after 6 months, we're going to go back to the bank, and I'm going to get a balance. I'll get a loan from the SBA for the balance. Then you can either party, both same happy results. So it's never too late.
Wow. That is incredible. So we are talking about essentially the ability to finance a divorce, write off the divorce, and if you are already in it, the possibility of refinancing what you've already done. That's absolutely incredible.
Exactly. It's not that we're encouraging anybody to get divorced. However, but if you do find yourself where, wait a minute, what if you could actually write off a divorce? You could use bank money to finance it, and the person who isn't with the business, they get to start their new life. That is the best situation, less emotions, everybody just move on.
That's awesome. Jeff, thank you so much for being here and taking time out of your busy day. I definitely appreciate it, and I hope our listeners did as well.
Great. Thank you for having me.